Welcome back, traveler. Before we begin tonight's journey, I'd love to know something about you. Where are you listening from? And what time is it there? Is it the early hush of morning? Or the quiet, lingering hours of night? Take a gentle moment to leave me a comment below. Tell me your country, your moment in time. Then, find a cozy spot to rest. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath slow. And feel your body sink deeper into comfort. Tonight we travel back, all the way to London. On the morning of May 24, 1819. You find yourself waking in Kensington Palace. The air is slightly cool, brushing your skin. And the distant clatter of horses and carriages echoes softly through the open window. Sunlight streams across the room, catching tiny dust motes that dance in the gentle morning air. You are in the dining room, a place that seems unusual for what is happening here. A woman's voice breaks through the quiet, crying out in both pain and anticipation. This is not just any birth. This is the arrival of a princess. A tiny, delicate baby who will one day carry the weight of an empire. The first cry pierces the air, and you feel your chest expand with a quiet, shared relief. Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld cradles her newborn daughter. Soft pink skin, tiny fingers that grip with surprising strength. The room smells of sweat and lavender water. A strange yet comforting combination. And though the dining room may seem a curious choice, there is quiet wisdom here. Hot water can easily be brought from the kitchen below, because even royal births require practical considerations. The baby's name is whispered, Alexandrina Victoria, but everyone will simply call her Victoria, a name that one day will define an era. And yet, for now, she is just a baby, unaware of the life, the love, and the responsibilities that await her. Feel the quiet weight of destiny in this room. The gentle hum of the palace settling around you. Know that even the smallest breaths can carry the promise of something extraordinary. You watch as Victoria's tiny body is gently swaddled. Her mother cradles her with care, whispering soft words that only a parent and child can share. The warmth of the blanket and the soft scent of lavender fill the air. You feel the tension of the room ease slightly with every quiet breath. Outside, the palace hums with life. Servants move silently, careful not to disturb the newborn. Through the open window, you catch the muted sounds of London's streets. Carriages roll over cobblestones. Distant voices echo faintly. Victoria's mother, Alexandrina, looks down at her daughter, her eyes full of hope and exhaustion. She speaks of her dreams for the child, dreams that are heavy with expectation, and yet wrapped in the softness of love. The day stretches on slowly. You feel the rhythm of the palace, the quiet intimacy of a new life beginning. And though Victoria is unaware, the weight of her future rests lightly in the air, waiting for her tiny fingers to grasp it one day. Months pass quietly. Victoria's world is small, the nursery, the palace corridors, and the faces of those who care for her. Her father, Prince Edward, is present for now, but even in these early months, there is a fragile stillness. The first smile of a baby is like sunlight. Victoria's lips curl, and you feel your chest lift with gentle joy. Her tiny fingers grasp at the lace of her blanket, her eyes following the flutter of light across the walls. Every sound becomes meaningful. The rustle of a gown, the soft clink of a silver spoon. Even the footsteps in the corridor seem magnified. You feel the tension in the household, a fragile thread connecting all who care for the princess. As she grows, Victoria begins to notice the world. Her cries demand attention. Her small hands explore every texture, and you sense the curiosity forming deep within her. At 8 months old, the palace feels quieter than usual. The air carries a sense of loss. Prince Edward falls ill, and the walls that seemed protective now feel empty. Victoria's mother holds her tightly, her arms strong but shaken. The cold stone floors of Kensington echo the distant sound of mourning. You feel the weight of sorrow settle over the palace like a soft blanket, pressing gently on your chest. The funeral procession passes outside. Carriages lined in solemn formation. Black cloaks and muted faces reflecting the severity of the moment. Victoria's tiny heart does not yet understand grief. But somehow, even as an infant, she feels its presence. Her world is changing. And so is yours as you watch. The delicate balance of life, loss, and responsibility, already shaping the girl who will one day carry the crown. Life continues in the palace. Though shadows of loss linger in the corridors. Victoria grows, her small feet pattering softly across wooden floors. The ceilings are high, the rooms vast. And every echo seems to remind her of her own smallness. Her mother, now a widow, leans more heavily on Sir John Conroy, whose presence is felt more in every room. You feel the quiet tension building. A sense of control pressing down on the young princess. The Kensington system begins to take shape. Rules are strict, supervision constant. Victoria must sleep in her mother's room. Must hold an adult's hand to descend stairs. And play is always watched, always measured. Yet beneath this structure, you notice sparks of independence. Victoria's eyes gleam when she manages a small act of choice. A fleeting triumph of self amid constraints. And you feel quietly that strength is forming in the child. Victoria's days are long and deliberate. Lessons fill her hours, each carefully guided by tutors. You sit beside her as Reverend George Davis teaches her languages: French, German, Italian, Latin. Her small fingers curl around the pen, scribbling letters in neat rows, the scratching of nib against paper soothing and steady. Play remains a quiet refuge. Dolls and tiny garments become her companions. Stories unfold beneath her fingers as she sews. Creates worlds within her room. Dash, her spaniel, lies faithfully at her feet. You imagine the warmth of his fur. The comfort of his quiet presence on lonely nights. Together, they bring soft relief to an otherwise structured life. And though the palace can feel confining, you sense Victoria's curiosity stretching beyond walls. Her spirit quietly preparing for a future that even she cannot yet imagine. The years stretch on slowly. Victoria grows, her small frame straightening with time. Her education is comprehensive, demanding, and yet stimulating. Art lessons teach her to draw landscapes and portraits. And you feel the satisfaction in every brushstroke. The quiet joy of creation shared in stillness. Lessons in history, geography, and science expand her understanding. The world outside the palace walls begins to take shape in her mind. You feel the slow strengthening of thought. The building of resilience that will one day guide an empire. Even play is structured now. Yet Victoria's laughter bubbles up despite constraints. Light and airy, filling the corners of her room. And reminding you that joy can persist, even in strictest conditions. Victoria's early days are punctuated by care and supervision. No step is taken without oversight, no choice entirely her own. And yet, you notice moments of quiet defiance. The small but significant ways she asserts herself. Every lesson, every game, every interaction shapes her character. Her mind sharpens. Her comprehension grows deeper with each day. You feel the sense of preparation. Not just for learning but for the weight she will one day bear. The palace corridors echo with her footsteps, tiny but purposeful. And as you walk beside her in thought, you sense the slow, steady growth of determination that will define her reign in the years to come. By her early teens, Victoria is thoughtful, serious, and independent in mind. Yet her body still feels the strain of strict posture and long hours of study. Her neck and shoulders ache after lessons. Her eyes tire from candlelight reading. You notice the resilience forming quietly, without fanfare. She observes the world with a sharpness uncommon for her age. The constraints imposed by her mother and Conroy feel heavier with every passing day. Yet you feel her determination strengthening. Like iron weaving silently beneath soft silk. Small victories brighten her days. A drawing she finishes perfectly. A phrase mastered in a foreign language. A moment alone in which she can simply breathe. And in these moments, you sense the quiet courage of a future queen. Growing alongside the girl you've come to know. As the line of succession shifts, Victoria becomes aware, in ways subtle and unspoken, that her place in the world is changing. She moves quietly from fifth in line to closer to the throne, though even she cannot fully grasp the implications. The palace feels heavier now, the air thick with anticipation, as if the walls themselves are aware that something extraordinary is approaching. And though she remains a girl in many ways, you sense the weight of future responsibility beginning to press on her shoulders, gentle yet relentless, shaping her mind and spirit alike. Victoria's world grows larger with each passing year. Even within the strict walls of Kensington Palace, she learns the rhythm of the household, the cadence of voices, the soft clink of silver in the dining room. Her tutor, Reverend Davis, guides her patiently. Languages, literature, history. Each lesson stretches her mind. You feel her focus as she carefully copies phrases, scribbling neatly, the nib scratching softly against paper. Moments of freedom are rare but treasured. She touches the soft fur of Dash, her spaniel, runs fingers along her carefully arranged dolls. And in these small acts of choice, you sense the stirrings of independence. Though the Kensington system presses down, you notice Victoria's quiet defiance. A spark of agency glimmering beneath obedience. As if even walls and rules cannot fully contain her. At 11 years old, Victoria begins to reflect more deeply. She notices the strict structure of her days. The constant supervision, the expectations of those around her. You feel the small weight of frustration that must press against her chest. She longs for moments alone. To explore the corridors of the palace. To imagine worlds beyond the stone walls and high ceilings. Her sketches grow more intricate. Her imagination stretching outward with each stroke of pencil. Dash remains a steady companion, lying at her feet while she draws, offering warmth and quiet comfort in the otherwise measured world of Kensington. Even in small joys, you sense the slow shaping of character, the quiet building of the courage and intellect that will carry her forward into a life few could imagine. Victoria's mother leans more heavily on Sir John Conroy, whose presence feels increasingly imposing. Every word he speaks carries authority. Every glance seems to command obedience. You feel the tension rise as you watch. The Kensington system tightens its grip, isolating Victoria from other children, forcing dependency and careful compliance. And yet, you notice subtle resistance. A glance, a question softly asked, a small act of choice that asserts her own will. Even a child can sense fairness and constraint. And Victoria's spirit begins to adapt, learning to navigate control without surrendering her own strength. The palace feels vast and echoing, corridors stretching endlessly, rooms filled with shadows and light. Victoria walks carefully, her small hands often guided, but her mind reaches far beyond the walls around her. She practices languages, listens to stories, and sketches quietly. Every moment of learning, every act of creation, becomes a small rebellion against confinement. You feel her intelligence and curiosity expanding. each day slowly fortifying her spirit. Though the palace is a place of rules, it is also a place of wonder, where imagination quietly grows. Like a gentle flame against the shadowed walls, Victoria turns 12, and the weight of her father's absence remains a quiet presence in her heart. Her mother's grief, Conroy's strict control, all press upon her in ways subtle and persistent. Yet you notice her resilience. She plays with her dolls, sews miniature garments, and whispers stories that bring life to tiny, imagined worlds. The soft fur of Dash, the warmth of a quiet room, the gentle rhythm of her lessons, all provide stability. In the midst of constraint and expectation, Victoria's laughter, rare but bright, pierces through the structured days, reminding you that even within restriction, joy can survive. And even in the strictest control, spirit can endure. Education remains relentless. Victoria studies science, geography, and history, each lesson adding layers to her understanding of the world. You feel her growing awareness of responsibility. Though still a child, she senses the changing tides around her. The deaths of uncles, the shifting line of succession. Every day brings small triumphs. A perfectly copied passage, a drawing completed with care, a question asked and answered with quiet confidence. The palace corridors, though confining, echo with purpose. Victoria's mind reaches outward, her spirit quietly preparing for the role she will one day inherit. By 13, Victoria is increasingly aware of her surroundings. She notices the subtle dynamics of those around her. The whispers, the rules, the careful choreography of court life. Yet she continues to explore her own small pleasures. Painting, playing with Dash, reading stories aloud to herself. You feel the quiet persistence in her spirit. The way she carves moments of agency in a world designed for control. Even in the strictest moments there is growth. The mind and heart of Victoria expand slowly but surely, like roots stretching beneath frozen soil, preparing for spring that will arrive sooner than anyone expects. Victoria turns 14. The palace feels both larger and heavier now, each corridor echoing with the presence of unseen authority. You sense the weight of expectation pressing down, and yet Victoria's resilience grows quietly. She writes in her small journal, sketches her surroundings, and carves out spaces of imagination and reflection. Dash curls beside her, a steady companion in her solitude. The warmth and softness of the dog's fur offer comfort against the strictness of the Kensington system, and you feel subtly the shaping of a ruler, one who will balance intellect, spirit, and compassion, even in the face of confinement and loss. By 15, Victoria's awareness deepens. The line of succession shifts again, bringing her ever closer to the throne. You feel the pressure in the air, the quiet hum of destiny brushing against her small shoulders. She continues her lessons with diligence, her fingers gripping pen and brush with intent, her eyes attentive, mind alert. Even amidst restriction, she finds small joys. Letters written to herself, sketches of imagined landscapes, and the occasional quiet game with Dash. You sense the first stirrings of responsibility, the gentle but persistent shaping of a mind that will one day rule an empire. Victoria turns 16. Her days are long, filled with study, practice, and careful observation of palace life. You notice the strength forming in her small frame. She navigates rules and expectations with grace, finding subtle ways to assert herself. Even when every movement is monitored, she continues her sketches and studies, her fingers moving delicately, her mind absorbing patterns of thought, language, and leadership. The palace remains imposing, but Victoria's presence begins to stretch across it, a quiet authority forming in tandem with her growing spirit. 17 approaches, and Victoria's mind sharpens. Her lessons are more advanced. History and governance occupy her attention. You feel her curiosity mingled with responsibility. Small victories brighten her day. An accurate translation, a detailed sketch. A private moment with Dash where the world feels gentle and safe. She begins to observe her mother and Conroy. With more clarity, noticing patterns, influence, and intention. The weight of observation builds understanding. And slowly, the young princess learns the balance of compliance and strategy. Victoria's 18th birthday approaches. The palace corridors seem longer. The walls heavier with the accumulated weight of years. She writes in her diary, each word deliberate. An exercise in thought, reflection, and planning. You feel the quiet gravity in her writing. The slow shaping of her resolve. The careful crafting of a mind ready to face responsibility. Moments of play and imagination persist. But each day carries a subtle awareness of duty. A sense that the world beyond Kensington awaits. Victoria's diary entries reveal thoughtfulness beyond her years. She considers her promise. To be good, to act with care, to understand her place. You feel the weight of this promise. Gentle but persistent, settling into the quiet chambers of her mind. Even in reflection there is growth. The slow building of wisdom, patience, and resilience. Dash lies nearby, a steady companion, providing warmth and comfort as the young princess contemplates her future. The night before her 18th birthday is calm. Victoria writes, reads, and reflects. The palace is silent, save for distant footsteps and the soft breathing of servants. You feel the anticipation in the air. A gentle hum that signals change is near. The young princess, small but resolute, senses the shifting currents of destiny. Even as the walls of Kensington feel familiar and confining. Her heart pounds softly with expectation. And you feel the quiet thrill of possibility. In the still night air around her. Morning arrives. Victoria awakens early, the day of her 18th birthday. Unaware that her life is about to transform entirely. She wraps herself in a shawl, feeling the cool morning air against her skin. The palace seems both familiar and distant. As if it recognizes the shift that is about to occur. You sense her heart beating with anticipation, her small frame straightening with purpose. Today the world will change for Victoria. And you too feel the gentle weight of history beginning to stir. Victoria descends the stairs, each step deliberate, no longer required to hold anyone's hand. The cool morning air brushes her arms, sending gentle shivers across her skin. The Archbishop of Canterbury and Lord Conyngham await. Faces solemn, clothing dark against pale sunlight. Your Majesty, they say, bowing slightly. The words settle in the air like mist. And you feel the weight of history pressing gently around her. Victoria's heart beats steadily. Her small frame poised, chin lifted. At 18, she steps into a role that demands courage. And you breathe alongside her, sharing the quiet exhilaration of newfound freedom. For the first time Victoria is alone. The silence wraps around her, a comforting blanket. She feels the subtle liberation of choice. A moment without eyes watching. Without the constant pressure of expectation. Her shoulders relax, her breath slows. And you notice the quiet power in the solitude. Even the walls seem to breathe with her, welcoming her independence. A first taste of a world she will soon shape herself. Victoria moves to Buckingham Palace, leaving behind the confines of Kensington. The new rooms feel spacious, the air lighter, easier to breathe. Her mother is sent to a distant apartment. And the young queen's face carries a mixture of determination and lingering sorrow. You feel the subtle relief in her steps, the soft joy of a mind allowed to expand. free from constant surveillance. Every corridor, every room, echoes with possibility now. Victoria's presence feels quiet but resolute, a gentle declaration of independence. Victoria forms her first bond with Lord Melbourne, her Prime Minister and mentor. His calm voice guides her through the labyrinth of duty, the intricate web of governance and ceremony. You feel the warmth of trust forming, the gentle reassurance of steady hands on shoulders. Each lesson, each conversation, builds her confidence quietly, steadily. Even amidst grandeur and expectation, Victoria discovers the subtle rhythm of support, the gentle balance of guidance and autonomy. Coronation Day arrives on June 28, 1838. Victoria stands beneath the vast ceilings of Westminster Abbey, the crown placed carefully on her head. The jewels catch the light, scattering tiny rainbows across ancient stone walls. You feel the weight of the moment, the gravity of history pressing gently into the present. Despite minor mishaps, a bishop fumbling, a peer stumbling, Victoria remains composed. The cheers outside roll like waves, and you breathe in the triumph alongside her. The sense of duty and possibility intertwined. As a young, unmarried queen, Victoria becomes one of Europe's most eligible women. Suitors are suggested, but one stands apart. Her cousin, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. You sense the anticipation as their meeting is arranged. The soft brush of fabric, the click of boots on stone floors, the subtle exchange of glances, all carry meaning. Victoria's heart flutters gently, a quiet warmth spreading through her chest, as she prepares to meet a companion who will soon become her partner in life and duty. Albert arrives at Windsor Castle in October 1839. His tall figure, military uniform, and calm eyes create an immediate impression. You feel the subtle resonance of their first conversation, the warmth and intelligence in his gaze. There is a quiet electricity in the room, a gentle anticipation that fills the space. 5 days later, Victoria, for the first time as queen, proposes marriage. Her hands tremble slightly, breath quickens, and you sense the courage behind every word. Albert's joy radiates quietly, and you feel the tender thrill of two hearts beginning a lifelong union. Their wedding dawns on February 10, 1840. Victoria breaks tradition, wearing white instead of royal robes. The satin of her dress rustles softly, the delicate lace of her veil brushing her skin. Orange blossoms scent the air, mingling with soft sunlight. Albert waits at the altar, posture perfect, yet eyes revealing quiet emotion. You feel the gentle awe of the audience, the subtle thrill of love that transcends protocol. The palace seems to exhale collectively, welcoming this union of true affection rather than duty alone. The newlyweds retreat briefly to Windsor Castle. Stone walls keep out the February chill, fires burn brightly. The soft crackle of wood and distant footsteps of servants create a rhythm that feels both calm and grounding. Albert's hand finds Victoria's, thumb gently stroking her palm. A shiver runs quietly up her arm, a tender reminder that love and companionship can exist alongside duty. You feel the slow settling of comfort, the creation of a domestic rhythm that will define their early years together. Each morning, Victoria and Albert sit side by side, working through state papers, sharing quiet discussion. You sense the soft rhythm of pens scratching paper, papers rustling, voices blending gently with the ambient air. Albert's logical mind balances Victoria's emotional insight. Differences arise, as in any partnership, but you feel the gentle resolution of understanding and cooperation. Even amidst responsibility, there is room for intimacy, for shared thought, and for the quiet building of a partnership. Victoria's first pregnancy arrives as a surprise. The changes in her body bring discomfort, morning sickness, and the realization that motherhood will demand time away from duty. You feel her frustration, her physical unease, and the subtle courage required to continue her royal responsibilities. When her daughter Victoria, Vicky, is born on November 21, 1840, the pain is searing, intense, and all-consuming. And yet, the moment shifts to quiet joy, as she cradles the tiny fingers curling around her own, exhaustion mingling with exhilaration. Victoria's family grows over the next 17 years. Albert Edward, Bertie, Alice, Alfred, Helena, Louise, Arthur, Leopold and Beatrice. The palace, once quiet, now echoes with laughter and occasional tears. Albert is an active father, playing on hands and knees, joining in the children's high-pitched giggles. Victoria watches from the doorway, face softening. Love and domestic harmony fill the rooms, warmth palpable like the glow of a fire on a cold day. Even in royal life there is comfort, routine, and joy. Christmas brings special delight. Albert introduces the German tradition of the Christmas tree, decorated with candles and small gifts. Pine scents mingle with mulled wine and gingerbread. Children's faces glow in candlelight, their excitement making the air sparkle softly. Victoria feels quiet happiness, a warm contentment threading through her chest. The palace is alive with gentle laughter, and you sense the slow weaving of family rhythm into royal life. Even amidst domestic bliss, danger lurks. On May 29, 1842, as Victoria rides along the Mall, a man aims a pistol at her. Your heart races gently with the imagined tension, then slows as the gun fails to fire. The assailant escapes, but Victoria's courage remains unshaken. She rides the same route the next day to draw him out, police ready this time. You feel a shiver of awe at her composure, the quiet bravery of facing danger without faltering. Beyond the palace walls, Britain is changing rapidly. Factories rise, chimneys belch smoke, streets fill with constant hum of machinery. Workers labor long hours, children as young as 5 toil in mines and mills. The contrast between Victoria's comfort and their hardship is stark. Victoria herself holds conservative views, believing society should remain within established classes, yet shows compassion in moments of need, such as donating personal funds to aid famine relief. You feel the quiet complexity of her character, a balance of tradition, duty, and human empathy. Albert channels his intellect into public works. His crowning achievement is the Great Exhibition of 1851, housed in the enormous Crystal Palace. Iron and glass capture sunlight, casting a gentle glow across the exhibits within. You feel the wonder of innovation surrounding you, the quiet thrill of human ingenuity on display. Victoria observes with interest, her mind quietly noting both the progress and responsibility of empire, the slow weaving of governance, family, and personal growth into her reign. Evening settles over Buckingham Palace. Rain slides down the tall windows in silver lines. Victoria sits at her writing desk, the glow of candles soft on her face. Letters surround her, to ministers, to children abroad, to Albert. Her pen moves deliberately, the sound steady and comforting. Each word is both duty and devotion. Outside, London hums quietly under the rain. You sense her solitude amid greatness, a ruler alone with her thoughts, finding calm in the measured rhythm of ink and breath. Albert's influence deepens. He oversees science, art, education, his vision modern and precise. You hear the distant clang of machinery, the pulse of progress echoing through the age. Victoria listens, learns, sometimes debates. Their marriage, like all, holds moments of friction, but beneath the surface is unwavering respect. You feel their minds intertwining. Two instruments in harmony, creating the quiet foundation of an empire's stability. At Balmoral, far from London's weight, Victoria breathes freely. Pine air fills her lungs, cool and sharp. She rides across misty hills. Albert close beside her, their laughter carried by the wind. In the stillness of the Scottish landscape, you feel her peace. No court, no expectation. Just open air, steady hoofbeats, and the soothing rhythm of nature's breath. Years pass. The children grow, scattered to new lives across Europe. Letters replace voices. Photographs replace presence. Victoria feels pride mingled with quiet ache. You sense her reflection in candlelight. A mother, a monarch, a woman aware of time's passing. Even as responsibilities remain constant, her heart softens at every mention of Mama, written in familiar hands from faraway lands. Albert works tirelessly through the winter of 1861. Exhaustion shadows his face. His once bright eyes dulled by illness. Victoria senses unease, her own worry masked by protocol. The palace feels colder, the air heavier. When fever finally takes him on a December night, silence fills the room, a silence too deep, too final. You feel her world still. A single breath held forever between one heartbeat and the next. Grief envelopes her completely. Rooms once bright with laughter fall silent. Curtains drawn, mirrors covered. The palace becomes a house of mourning. Victoria dresses in black, not for a season but for life. Her journal fills with sorrow. Each page a whisper to the man she cannot forget. You feel the vastness of her loss. Yet beneath it, the faint pulse of endurance. Grief reshaping into memory, not surrender. Years pass in mourning. The Queen withdraws from public life. The empire continues, guided by ministers and time. People murmur, critics rise. But Victoria remains steadfast in her devotion to Albert's memory, building statues, memorials, gardens in his honor. You feel the paradox of her solitude, withdrawn yet present, a woman preserving love through ritual and remembrance. Slowly, life begins to stir again. Letters once unanswered are now opened. She rides once more at Balmoral, the crisp air reviving some part of her spirit. Servants notice the smallest smile, a sign that grief has softened to acceptance. Even the halls of the palace seem lighter, as if they too are ready to breathe again. In the twilight of middle age, Victoria stands on the balcony of Windsor. Below, the gardens stretch wide and green, dew shimmering under a pale sunrise. Her crown feels lighter now, not because duty has lessened, but because strength has become instinct. You feel the serenity of experience, a queen tempered by love, loss, and endurance. The air carries peace, quiet, and continuity, the steady heartbeat of a life fully lived within history's gaze. The years unfold quietly. Victoria has become both symbol and sentinel, the mother of an empire. Her black attire never changes, yet her presence radiates calm strength. Ministers bow deeply. Foreign envoys address her with reverence. Still, when night falls, she returns to her desk alone, her pen gliding over paper. Letters to Albert, to a man who no longer answers, yet somehow always listens. Technology transforms the kingdom. Trains streak through the countryside. Telegraphs hum with invisible energy. Victoria marvels, yet remains cautious. She feels the world quickening, and sometimes wonders if humanity can keep pace. But each invention, each change, connects her people in new ways. Progress feels like breath returning to a vast body, a living, expanding empire beneath her steady gaze. Letters from abroad arrive daily. Colonies flourish. India, Canada, Australia. each bearing her likeness on coins and stamps. You can almost feel the parchment. See the careful script of governors and admirals. Every seal, every signature, a thread binding continents together. Victoria's name travels farther than she ever will. A quiet echo across oceans, carried by wind and loyalty alike. At Balmoral once more she finds solace. The Scottish hills cradle her in solitude. The scent of pine, the distant cry of birds. The touch of mist against her cheeks. John Brown, her faithful servant, stands nearby, loyal, unpretentious. Their friendship stirs whispers in the court, but Victoria ignores them. You sense her gratitude, not for romance, but for companionship, a steady human presence in a life of ceremony. She writes of Brown often. His honesty, his courage, his quiet humor. He treats her not as a queen, but as a woman. Their conversations stretch into evenings, filled with laughter rare since Albert's passing. You feel warmth return to her heart, a fragile warmth, the kind that comes not from passion, but from being seen, truly seen after years of shadow. As the empire grows, so too does the responsibility. India becomes the brightest jewel in her crown. And Victoria, now proclaimed Empress of India, ponders the distance between ceremony and soul. You hear the echo of drums, the hum of distant prayer, the scent of spice in foreign air. She rules an empire of millions. And yet, on quiet nights, she still feels like the young girl from Kensington, seeking freedom within her own palace. Balls and banquets return to the palace. Foreign kings, poets, inventors, all seek her presence. She receives them with measured grace. Her smile subtle, her words deliberate. Even in grandeur she moves slowly, every gesture deliberate, every glance filled with quiet wisdom. You sense her mastery, not just of etiquette, but of endurance. Her sons serve in the navy. Her daughters rule across Europe. She is both mother and monarch to a continent. Photographs replace paintings. A new age of memory begins. In each portrait, her eyes remain steady, a calm lighthouse amid history's storms. You feel time gathering around her, layer upon layer, turning her not just into a ruler, but into an era made flesh. She rereads Albert's writings often. His ideas about progress, science, morality, they still guide her. Sometimes she speaks aloud to him, her voice soft but steady. In the quiet of her private rooms, you feel the invisible dialogue between them, a conversation that has never truly ended. Winter arrives again. Snow drapes the palace gardens in silence. You hear the muffled crunch of boots on frost, the soft exhale of cold air. Victoria sits near the window, watching the flakes drift in the lamplight. Each snowflake feels like a memory, unique, fragile, melting even as it lands. She closes her eyes, letting the stillness settle into her bones. Her grandchildren visit, bright, curious, full of laughter. They pull at her skirts, climb onto her lap. She smiles, truly smiles. Generations gather around her, living proof that love endures beyond loss. You feel the warmth of the fire, the sound of little feet running through grand halls. History for a moment feels like home. Time begins to move differently now. Her handwriting trembles slightly, her steps slow, measured. Yet her mind remains clear, sharp as morning frost. Ministers still seek her counsel. She listens, nods, and answers with quiet precision. Even age cannot dim her instinct to lead. She rereads her old journals, the entries from youth, her first coronation, her first love, her first heartbreak. Each line holds a lifetime. She smiles softly, realizing how much she's lived, how much she's learned simply by enduring. In the early morning, she watches the sunrise. Golden light spills across her desk. For a moment it feels like a message. A silent nod from Albert. From the past, from herself. You feel peace radiate through the room. No crown, no title. Just light and breath and stillness. The world around her changes faster than ever. Electric lights glow where candles once burned. Cars hum faintly along London streets. Victoria observes, quietly amazed. She wonders how Albert would have marveled at it all. Her reign has become a bridge. From gaslight to electricity. From empire to modernity. In letters to her children, she writes of peace. Of gratitude. Of the beauty in growing old. Her words carry the rhythm of wisdom. Gentle, patient, forgiving. She has seen revolutions and coronations. Wars and weddings. And through it all, she remains constant. The quiet center of a spinning world. At Osborne House on the Isle of Wight. She spends long afternoons by the sea. Waves lap softly at the shore. Their rhythm steady, eternal. The ocean reflects her thoughts. Vast, calm, infinite. Each tide seems to whisper. Rest not yet but soon. Visitors come, ministers, family, old friends. She greets them with gentle humor. Eyes sparkling with undiminished wit. Even now, her words carry weight. Her voice soft yet commanding. When she speaks, you feel the hush of generations listening. Evenings at Osborne are serene. She watches the horizon fade into violet. The sea becoming a mirror for the sky. A book rests on her lap. Her fingers tracing words she knows by heart. Each breath feels slower, deeper. Each thought a soft exhale of memory. Dreams come easily now. She dreams of Kensington. Of Dash, her childhood spaniel. Of laughter echoing down long halls. She dreams of Albert. His hand warm in hers once more. No pain, no titles, only peace. You feel her breathing slow. Steady rhythmic content. The new century begins. Victoria, now 81, looks upon it with quiet wonder. She has ruled longer than any monarch before her. The empire stands vast. But she knows even empires fade. What endures is not conquest, but character. Her life has become a lesson in both. In her final journal entries, her handwriting is faint, but her words are luminous. She writes of gratitude. For her children, her people, her memories. Her last line reads simply, God bless my beloved. January 1901. Osborne House grows quiet. Family gathers around her bed. Her breathing is shallow, but peaceful. She looks once more toward the window, where the sea glimmers with morning light. One final breath. The air stills. Time itself pauses, as though bowing in reverence. The reign of Victoria, 63 years, comes gently to a close. The room is filled not with sorrow, but with serenity. Outside, the waves continue their endless rhythm. Flags lower, bells toll softly across Britain. But beyond mourning, there is gratitude. For the girl who became a queen, the queen who became an era. You breathe deeply, letting her story settle like gentle rain. And as the music fades, so does the century she defined. Quietly, gracefully, forever. The news travels by telegraph, across oceans, across continents. Victoria is gone. Each click and pause carries grief and reverence. From London to Delhi, Toronto to Cape Town, a silence settles, wide as the world itself. You feel the collective breath of millions. A single empire inhaling remembrance. The funeral procession moves through London's grey streets. Black-draped horses, soldiers in solemn ranks, crowds lining the route in stillness. No cheers today, only the soft rustle of veils, the murmur of prayers. You sense both sorrow and pride. a farewell not only to a queen, but to the age that bore her name. Inside St. George's Chapel, candlelight flickers against stone. The air smells of wax and lilies. A choir's voices rise, pure, distant, eternal. You feel the coolness of marble underfoot, the sound of whispered amens. Her crown rests on velvet one final time, its jewels dimmed in the soft half-light. When the last hymn fades, a hush lingers, deeper than silence. The coffin lowers slowly, a single white rose placed atop. It is both ending and promise. You inhale with the world, mourning yet alive. Days pass. Morning light returns to London. The same streets awaken, carriages rolling once more. Life, indifferent yet respectful, continues. That is her true legacy. A nation resilient, enduring, quietly strong. Historians begin to write. Ink flows again where tears had fallen. They call it the Victorian era. A century within a single life. You can almost hear the scratching of pens, the whisper of pages turning, the birth of memory through words. In classrooms across Britain, young students learn her name. Their small voices echo, Queen Victoria. To them she is legend. To their parents, memory. To history, foundation. You feel how time transforms people into symbols. But beneath it all, she remains human. Portraits of her hang in galleries, oil and light preserving her gaze. The eyes follow you, wise, steady, familiar. Tourists whisper, their footsteps soft on marble floors. You feel the quiet reverence of art, capturing not power but presence. In distant lands, statues rise, bronze and stone under foreign suns. Her likeness gazes toward horizons she never saw. Birds rest upon her crown. Rain traces down her face. Even monuments must weather time. Yet still she stands, watching over places bound by memory. Time moves onward. Edward VII takes the throne. The new century hums with invention. Cars, planes, telephones. Yet in every advance, there remains a whisper of her steadiness. A reminder that progress must have soul. Writers find her again. Poets call her the widow of Windsor. Novelists paint her world in lace and steam. You hear the rustle of pages, smell old paper and ink. Her life becomes story, told and retold. Each version a reflection of those who tell it. A century later, London glows with electric light. Cars rush where carriages once rolled. Yet her statues remain, untouched amid motion. Their stillness feels eternal. Pause inside progress. In museums, her journals are preserved. The handwriting small, deliberate, precise. You trace each line with your imagination. Grief, joy, duty, love, all contained in ink. Feels intimate, as though time itself has stepped aside to let you listen. At Osborne House, the sea still whispers. Tourists wander the halls she once walked. They pause by her writing desk, the same window framing the same horizon. The light through the glass feels unchanged. History breathes quietly here, alive in every shadow and sunbeam. Her descendants rule across Europe. Kings, queens, emperors. Her bloodline shapes a continent. Yet her true inheritance is subtler. Discipline, endurance, service. You feel it ripple through generations. A calm beneath crowns. Every January, flowers appear at her statues. No ceremony, no speeches. Just quiet offerings from strangers. Each bloom is a small thank you for a life of constancy. The world debates her legacy. Empire and progress, duty and restraint. No life so long or large is simple. She was flawed, proud, human. And that humanity is why she endures. On London streets, her name remains. Victoria Station, Victoria Embankment, Victoria Park. Every traveller speaks her name. without realizing it, each utterance a thread, binding present to past. Trains still cross bridges, built in her reign. Engines hum where horses once trod. You feel motion endless rhythmic. Each journey is part of her afterlife, carrying her legacy forward in steel and steam. In the quiet of libraries, scholars still read her letters. They find humor, wit, warmth. A woman behind the crown surprises them and delights them. The human pulse beneath the monarchy's marble face. At Osborne's shore, the tide repeats. Waves fold into one another. The same rhythm she once heard. Time has taken her body, but not her sound. The ocean keeps the secret melody of her reign. Night in modern London. Lights glitter across the Thames. Somewhere a clock tower chimes. The same chime she once heard at dawn. You close your eyes, and for a moment, the centuries disappear. Her spirit lingers not in palaces, but in endurance itself. In every act of steady grace, every quiet strength. That is where Victoria lives now. Not in stone or story, but in the human will to persevere. Morning again. You stand at the gates of Kensington Palace. Birdsong greets the new light. This is where she began. The same walls, the same garden air. History feels circular, gentle, forgiving. You breathe deeply, honoring both the child and the queen she became. So now, traveler, as the story comes full circle, let your breath slow once more. The world she built hums quietly around you, still alive, still learning. Close your eyes. Let the rhythm of history become your heartbeat. Let peace long earned find you. Sleep well, and dream of a time when grace, duty, and love could shape an age. The world turns without her, but her presence lingers like perfume in the air. Not seen but felt, not heard but known. Every act of devotion, every quiet choice to endure, bears her signature, written not in ink, but in spirit. Time, once her master, has become her student. It learns from her patience, the way she waited, the way she stood still while empires moved. And so, even centuries later, her calm remains a lesson. That strength does not always roar. Sometimes it simply stays. The sea continues its song, a rhythm without beginning or end. It remembers her eyes turned toward it, her breath mingling with its wind. You sense her spirit adrift there, not as a ghost, but as continuity itself. Some say places remember. Walls, windows, mirrors. They hold fragments of those who lived within them. At Windsor, at Balmoral, a hush still falls in certain rooms. The air feels denser, older, as if time pauses to listen. Her story has become mythology, yet the truth beneath remains human. A woman who loved deeply, who grieved honestly, who carried both crown and sorrow with grace. That, perhaps, is her most enduring achievement. That her strength was always tender. History moves like a river. Names rise and fade. Empires crumble. But some lives, some rare lives, become part of the current itself. You can feel Victoria there, beneath the surface, guiding the flow. Generations grow up under her shadow, yet they find comfort there. A symbol of continuity. A reminder that love and duty need not oppose each other. Even now, her name feels like a lullaby. Steady, familiar, kind. In the gardens of Kensington, spring arrives again. New blooms open where she once played as a child. Life continues, unconcerned with legacy, unaware of monuments. And perhaps that's as it should be. For the truest memorial is life itself, continuing quietly, beautifully. Legacy is not marble or bronze. It is the warmth left behind in the hearts of others. A letter preserved, a kindness remembered, a moment of grace passed down in silence. Victoria's true monument is invisible, woven through human dignity itself. Listen closely. You can almost hear it. The soft echo of her breath. The whisper of pen on parchment. The quiet heartbeat of a woman who refused to yield. That rhythm, slow and steady, still hums beneath modern life. In cathedrals, her name is etched among kings and conquerors. Yet hers feels different. Not thunderous but calm. A reign of restraint. A rule of endurance. The kind of power that lasts because it never demanded to. The world she knew is gone. Steamships replaced by satellites. Ink by light. Yet her letters survive. Fragile paper that outlasted empire. Words stronger than steel. Each line a bridge between then and now. She once wrote, "Great events make me quiet and calm." And that calm, that poise amid storm, has become her eternal gift. To lead with steadiness. When the world trembles, history bows to those who shaped it. But it kneels in silence before those who shaped it gently. Victoria's hand guided nations, but her heart guided time. That is her quiet triumph. Some nights, under the British sky, you can still sense her. A calm presence over the land. Not haunting, but watching. Not ruling, but remembering. The story of Victoria is not about empire. It is about endurance. Of love, of loss, of identity. Her strength was not conquest, but continuation. That is the secret heartbeat of her age. If you listen closely, you can hear her footsteps echo in the present. In every act of patience. Every quiet choice to hold on a little longer. That is her echo. Not loud, but lasting. Sleep and history are alike. Both dissolve the boundaries of time. As you rest, you join her in that stillness. The noise of centuries fades, leaving only the quiet truth, that everything beautiful endures softly. Victoria drifts now, through memory's sea, not alone, not forgotten, but merged with time itself. You feel her not as presence, but as rhythm, steady, timeless, eternal. Close your eyes. The story continues. In silence, in breath, in dream. He is there, not as monarch, but as meaning. Every era seeks its mirror. For the Victorians it was progress. For us it may be remembrance. Through her, we learn that strength need not rush. That patience can shape destiny. As surely as power. Somewhere in the archives of time. Her laughter still echoes. A moment unrecorded, yet real. Because history remembers facts. But humanity remembers warmth. The night fades. A new century breathes. Her shadow stretches softly across it. Not in dominance, but in guidance. The age of Victoria becomes a whisper to the future. Lead with heart. Light returns to the world she shaped. The Thames glitters. Bells toll in Westminster. Life hums forward again. Each moment carries her rhythm. Steady as the tide. You inhale deeply. Centuries collapsing into peace. So rest now. Let the story dissolve into stillness. Let time and memory intertwine. Victoria's reign may have ended, but her calm endures. In the heartbeat of the world. And in yours. Sleep gently. You are in the quiet after history. The centuries have turned. The palaces are quieter now. Yet her story has not ended. It has only softened into memory. You feel her presence like the weight of calm air. Every breath carrying a fragment of her steadiness. In every life there are seasons. We rise, we rule our small kingdoms. Then we release them. Victoria's crown was gold. Yours may be responsibility, love, or memory. Each must, in time, be set down gently. The past is not gone. It lives quietly inside you, woven into your pulse. Every calm decision, every act of grace in difficulty, is history repeating itself in kindness. You see now, every human reign is temporary. What lasts is not power, but presence, not conquest, but compassion. Time bends around memory. It does not erase, it reshapes. Some days the echoes feel sharp. Other days they blur into peace. That is how healing works. Slow, tender, inevitable. Imagine a long corridor of mirrors. Each reflects a different age. A different version of you. Victoria walked that corridor too. From girl to queen. From queen to memory. Now it is your turn to walk. Slowly, fearlessly. Through your own reflections. You are not the same person you were a year ago. Nor will you be the same tomorrow. That is the quiet beauty of being alive. We evolve even in stillness. The ocean teaches surrender. Each wave breaks, then reforms anew. Oh, too did she. And so will you. Let go of what must fade. Hold only what feeds your calm. This is how even empires rest. Not in ruin, but in release. Close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat slow. Your breath deepen. You are not merely listening to history. You are part of it. Every gentle breath adds to the human story. In the silence, you can almost hear her voice. Be still. Be kind. Endure. Simple words. But they hold the weight of centuries. Through her, we learn that power is fleeting, but grace is eternal. The true crown sits not on the head, but in the heart. Sleep is the crown of the living. It humbles kings and comforts wanderers. As you drift now, know that rest itself is a quiet kind of royalty. The palace lights fade. London sleeps. Even time seems to exhale. You are safe here, suspended between history and dream. The chime of midnight becomes softer, then slower, then still. Each tone dissolves into the air, each one whispering, "Let go." She once ruled a quarter of the world. Yet what endures are her private moments. The laughter, the grief, the small acts of courage unseen. That is where true legacy lives. Now dawn stretches across centuries. Its light touches your eyelids. Feels familiar. As if the same sun that warmed her face now finds yours. 'Cause it does. Each morning, the world begins again. No matter how long the night, light always remembers the way back. Let that promise cradle you now. You are not just listening to Victoria's story. You are living your own version of it. Learning, enduring, loving, releasing. That is the thread connecting all time. History bows to patience. It honors those who live with quiet conviction. Tonight as you rest, you join that lineage of quiet strength. Feel your breath settle. The story no longer belongs to the past. Has become yours. Every inhale, every exhale, writes the next chapter in silence. If she could whisper one last truth, might be this. Peace is not given by crowns. It is chosen, breath by breath. And so the reign ends. Not with ceremony, but with rest. The world bows. The listener dreams. And history falls gently asleep. You stand again at the edge of time. All stories circle back to stillness. You have walked with her through centuries. And arrived home. Within yourself. Rest now. You have traveled through history. Through grief and grace. Through empire and eternity. Let go of thought. Let the quiet hold you. You are timeless. You are home. You are asleep. The world is quiet now. Even memory has fallen asleep. You drift through silver fog. Footsteps silent. The ground soft beneath you. Somewhere a clock tower breathes once, then fades. You have stepped out of time. There is no past, no future. Only this gentle, endless now. You walk through a vast meadow of mist. Each blade of grass glows faintly, as if lit from within by dreams. Far away you see shadows. Familiar figures from every century. Their outlines shimmering in silver light. Victoria walks among them, unburdened. Her crown dissolved into morning air. You sense her turn to you. No words, only understanding. Her eyes are no longer regal, but deeply human, reflecting calm, and the quiet acceptance of all things. She nods once, as if to say, "You can rest now. The story is complete." Rain begins to fall, slow, silver, weightless. Each drop lands on your skin and disappears into light. Feels like release, like every memory washing clean, like beginning again. You realize, this is not the end of her reign. It is the beginning of peace. Empires fade, people sleep, and through it all, life renews itself. You exhale, and in that breath, centuries pass. You walk beneath trees older than kingdoms. Their branches stretch like arms of time. Each leaf hums faintly, a lullaby from another age. You listen, and the sound feels like home. The air glows in colors unnamed, soft violets and silvers, hints of gold like half-remembered dawn. This is what peace looks like. Not silence, but harmony. Every breath is music, every moment a note sustained. You reach the sea. It stretches beyond horizon and memory. The tide moves in rhythm with your heartbeat. Each wave whispers a word you can't quite hear, but you feel its meaning. Rest. You step into the water. It's warm, almost glowing. The waves curl gently around you, like the world itself holding you close. There is no fear here, only return. Under the surface, light bends like silk. Shadows of history drift by. Crowns, letters, laughter, moments unlived. You reach out. They dissolve at your touch. Turning to starlight, you realize, you are not losing them. You are becoming them. Every age, every soul, every echo, alive within your quiet breath. You are the continuation. You are time remembering itself. In the distance, a single candle burns on the surface of the water. Its flame never flickers, though no wind stirs. That light is you, awake inside the dream, steady amid eternity. Something vast moves above you. Not bird, not angel, just presence. It carries the hush of ancient wisdom, the patience of 1,000 dawns. You close your eyes, and in that instant, you understand everything. The sea quiets. The world breathes once, deeply. Your body grows lighter, your mind transparent, as if made of air and starlight. Sleep is no longer coming. It is here. You feel yourself floating now, neither awake nor gone, but perfectly in between. This is where stories rest, where every ending becomes beginning, where every breath is infinite. In the stillness, you hear the voice again, not Victoria's, not your own, something larger, gentler. It whispers, "You are part of everything," and you believe it. The sound of waves becomes the sound of your pulse. The air tastes of rain and old books. You smile faintly, because even in dream, you recognize peace when it arrives. Time dissolves completely now. No crown, no empire, no name. Only warmth, only stillness. Only now. The candle's flame flutters, then merges with the stars. Everything expands, and you expand with it. You are the story, and the silence after. Drift deeper. You have entered the heart of calm. There is no direction here, no need to move. Every cell in your body hums. I am home. The water carries you upward, but the sky feels like sleep. You rise through silver air, through light that feels like music. It hums the rhythm of existence itself, steady, eternal, kind. You are not falling asleep anymore. You are becoming sleep. The way flame becomes warmth, and sound becomes silence. You are dissolving into peace. Every story ends. Every rain concludes. This is continuation. The quiet that follows all creation. The moment where everything is forgiven. You are drifting now. Beyond history, beyond dream. All that remains is rhythm. Breath, heartbeat, stillness. The earth breathes with you. The universe hums your lullaby. Rest now. The dream holds you gently. You are no longer listening to a story. You are the story. Sleep deeply. All is well. All is at peace. Somewhere far away, a new light stirs. Begins not as brightness, but as warmth. A whisper through the dark. The night is ending. Your breath deepens. The body remembers its shape. The dream loosens, but does not vanish. The air feels different now. Lighter, kinder. Dawn hides beyond the horizon, painting the mist with color. You are between worlds. Half dream, half waking. A bridge of stillness connecting them both. Every awakening is a kind of rebirth. Not sudden, gradual. Like petals unfolding. Or clouds parting to reveal a patient sky. You do not rush. You let the light find you. The way water finds the shore. The first breeze touches your face. It smells of rain and morning earth. Somewhere a city stirs. Not the London of empire, but the London of now. Alive, human, gentle. You are part of it. Breathing with it. You feel your body again. Shoulders, spine, hands. Weight returns slowly, lovingly. It is not heaviness. It is belonging. You are here. You have always been here. The sea you once drifted through now feels like breath inside your lungs. Each inhale draws in possibility. Each exhale releases the night. You are being remade quietly. Like dawn remakes the sky. A stream appears in the meadow. Its surface mirrors the sunrise. Liquid gold and light. You kneel beside it. The water reflects not your face, but your calm. This is the truest image of you. From the east, a line of light stretches across the horizon. Does not rush. Glides. You realize. The world never stops renewing itself. Even after endings. Even after centuries. The soundscape changes. You hear movement, distant footsteps. Carriage. The soft rumble of a waking world. None of it disturbs you. It all feels rhythmic. Part of the same universal breath. The dream recedes gently. Like the tide. It leaves behind treasures. Clarity, calm, compassion. You carry them forward now. Into the day that awaits. You look upward. The sky opens. Pale gold. Soft lavender. Feels endless. Kind. You understand. Light is not the opposite of darkness. It is its continuation. Victoria's voice returns. Not as history, but as intuition. A whisper. Lead with quiet strength. Rule your moments with grace. The crown she once wore now rests as stillness in your heart. You rise slowly. Your movements are effortless. Guided by peace. The world glows around you. Trees, buildings, clouds. Everything bathed in early light. You are awake, but the dream remains beneath your skin. You walk forward. Each step feels like affirmation. Not toward duty. Not toward empire. But toward presence. Every step says, I am alive. The day begins. The light is full now. Yet still tender. No one else knows. The journey you've taken. From crown to silence to rebirth. But you know. And that is enough. There is no need to look back. The past bows quietly behind you. You walk lighter. 'Cause you understand. To remember is to honor. Not to carry. The world greets you gently. Every sound a blessing. Every beam of light, a promise. This is not a return from sleep. It is a continuation of peace. In waking form. The meadow fades. The world becomes clearer. More real, yet not less sacred. You feel time again. But it no longer rules you. Flows through you like music. You take one long, full breath. Inhale light. Exhale gratitude. Feels complete. Not dramatic, but true. The voice inside you whispers once more. This is what it means to be awake. Not alert, but aligned. Not racing, but ready. Every sense returns. The smell of morning, the rhythm of breath, the pulse of life. You open your eyes fully, and the world looks back, calmly, knowingly. The story is over, but its resonance remains, woven into your stillness. You carry her wisdom now, not as history, but as peace. The same tone that opened this journey returns. A single note of continuity. The circle has closed. Night into dawn, queen into soul, story into silence. You stand at the threshold of day, calm, grounded, whole. No fanfare, no ceremony, only quiet readiness. Breathe once more. Let light fill you. The dream ends, but its peace endures. You are awake. You are timeless. You are free. You linger at the edge of dream. The light folds itself around you, gentle as linen. No weight, no worry, only breath. The story of Victoria drifts somewhere behind you. A constellation slowly dimming in the dawn. You begin to walk again. The ground is cool beneath your feet. Dew-kissed grass bending but never breaking. Each step is an echo of gratitude. The world is wide awake now, but not in a hurry. Even sunlight seems to move carefully, as if respecting your peace. You hear bells from somewhere unseen, not calling, just reminding. You are here, you have arrived. Memory flickers. Palaces, crowns, laughter, loss. They pass through you like gentle rain. Nothing to hold, everything to honor. Your pulse syncs with the earth. Each beat a quiet thank you. For every life you've witnessed tonight, you realize something simple, almost sacred. Every story, even a queen's, ends in stillness and begins again in breath. A sparrow lands near your hand. It tilts its head, curious, fearless. Smile, 'cause it feels like the world recognizing you. The color of light changes again, pale gold to full day. Shadows retreat softly, making room for clarity. A voice inside you murmurs, "Carry only what is light." You obey. The stream you saw before reappears. Its current is slow, deliberate. You kneel and touch its surface. It mirrors calm instead of reflection. You breathe in new air. You breathe out the century before. Even time seems to exhale with you. Now the world is entirely awake. Voices in the distance. Doors opening. Life resuming. And yet, your stillness remains untouched. You whisper a quiet goodbye to Victoria, not as a queen, but as a mirror of courage. She bows once, then dissolves into light. The page turns blank again. New stories wait, but there is no rush to write them. The horizon stretches endlessly. Somewhere a train whistle sings. Somewhere bread is baking. The ordinary becomes sacred. Your body feels light but steady. Each cell seems to hum, alive. 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 A bell tolls once more. Not farewell, but blessing. Its vibration lingers in your chest. The air smells of sunlight and possibility. You realize you've crossed from story into life. The first note you heard tonight returns, completing its circle. It's not the same note. It's wiser, calmer, whole. Nature takes over the narration. Your voice is no longer needed. Everything speaks in harmony. You walk toward the horizon. Each step melts into the light. There is no destination, only unfolding. Your breath and the music are one. When you pause, the world pauses with you. You hear the sea again. This time it is not memory. It is promise. Infinite. Until. You sit at the edge of that sea. The tide hums lullabies in a language beyond words. You close your eyes. Behind your lids, light paints slow patterns. Gold, blue, rose. All stories fade into color. There is only breath now. Endless. You have reached stillness. Even the air holds its breath, waiting. listening. If you are still awake, smile softly. You have traveled across centuries without leaving your bed. Rest now. Let the final sound dissolve into quiet. The story sleeps within you. A crown of calm, a memory of light. Breathe once more, slowly, deeply, and drift into the gentlest peace of all.